guys, Lonely Fanboy 4 here, and welcome to WWE Month to start off 2018. Now, there's only gonna be 3 projects in this month, because I have little material, and there's good reason. WWE is a mixed bag when it comes to everyone. People say that it's terrible for being PG and always giving champions to part-timers, which I'll get to later, and while the other side is where fans still love it, despite its flaws. I'm in the middle, but closer to the fan aspect. Now, the people who are wrestling fans only remember the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era because they say they are better than the PG era, and for good reason. Before PG began, WWE was for teenagers. After 1997, the Attitude Era arrived. And then there was the Ruthless Aggression era. People say that those 2 eras are the best from WWE because it was for teenagers. They completely changed everything. The matches were more serious and very fast-paced. There's sometimes violence in it, but weapon violence. I'm not talking about wrestling violence, I'm talking about weapon violence. I really love the weapon violence in both of those eras. And not only that, the wrestlers were likable, and it was during a time where WWE knew what they're doing by almost every single wrestling fan. And of course, there's the Attitude Era, which is the best era in WWE. And I can really understand why people prefer the Attitude Era than the PG era because of how it made great impacts back in the day. However, that all came to an end in July of 2008. After the Great American Bash pay-per-view, WWE has turned PG, which means everything else is gone. Some sexual content is gone. Violence from the next level is gone. Swearing is gone. And then sooner or later, wrestlers like Batista and soon among others completely left WWE because of its PG rating and change of rules. Now, let me talk about the fans. I can really understand where they're coming from. I mean, they're Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression fans. I can understand why they completely hate everything that is changing in WWE. And I will admit that. When PG Era began, I think it was a mixed bag. I mean, I didn't watch all the episodes or some of the pay-per-views at the end of 2008, but I can say that there was no seriously juvenile humor like we see nowadays in WWE. However, it got way worse later on, because in 2009, they completely had guest hosts on Raw. Even if it's almost 10 years old, it's still impossible not to forget about this whole thing. I mean, really. Now, to be fair, I was 11 years old by the time they were doing this, and I didn't know better. However, looking at this now, it's just hard to take this seriously. I don't even understand why they need guest hosts instead of getting a new general manager. Seriously, when Vicky Guerrero completely quit it, except that she came back on SmackDown, there was so many guest hosts and guest stars constantly. I mean, I don't even understand why Vince McMahon needs to talk to people who haven't watched wrestling before. Now, to give it some credit, they did bring back legends in WWE, like Ted DiBiase. However, that doesn't make up to everything. I mean, really, it's impossible to take this seriously. Dr. Phil came to the show, I think in 2016, which is almost 2 years ago. And then sometimes, once in a while, they just bring in Georgia Line as commentators at Night Champions 2014. I do like Georgia Line, but why are they commentators? And what is the point of these guest stars in the first place? But keep in mind, I'm scratching the surface because I haven't gotten to everything that's going on right now in WWE. Now, last year in October of 2016, I made a rant on the WWE draft. Keep in mind, it was one of my earlier times of making YouTube videos, so I didn't got the experience to understand everything. I mean, the WWE draft was new back at the time when it returned, and looking at it right now, I can say that it kind of worked, but it still didn't get enough wrestlers more time to shine. Especially that WWE 205 and WWE Main Event are still there, so people can have more screen time, even though people prefer watching Raw or SmackDown, which is really disappointing, in my opinion, because WWE 205 is just something that cruiserweights can have some matches, and WWE Main Event is just there for more people to have matches. Okay, I should get back to one of the main reasons why the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era are superior to the recent era. You see, back then, when WWE bought WCW and ECW, at least they have a reason to make the brand split. And then during those golden age of times, I know the Ruthless Aggression Era isn't a golden time, but at least it's a better time than the PG era. At least they gave some wrestlers some time to shine. I mean, you can argue that Triple H was superior and later John Cena, but you need to understand that John Cena, as well as Batista, are completely young stars back at the time. I get that people really hate them, but you need to understand that they're young stars and they always become main eventers since WrestleMania 21. However, what they did right in the Ruthless Aggression Era is giving more people time to shine, like Eddie Guerrero and Chavo Guerrero and other wrestlers. I really like the original and old wrestlers being in the spotlight most of the time. That's what I really love in the old WWE. For one thing, they were serious and not PG friendly. Even though there's some fans like little kids, which I see in this picture right there, this kid, at least they know how to treat the audience like 14-year-olds. However, later on, they just do too much juvenile humor and so many terrible and embarrassing moments that I don't even understand why so many people like it so much. I mean, I'm a fan of WWE, but I don't understand how WWE can easily surpass all the backlash that they got. Me personally, the worst thing is Christian's world title victory. At Extreme Rules 2011, Christian won the World Heavyweight Champion for the very first time. It was indeed a great moment because Edge retired after he speared Brodus Clay. He broke his neck, which means that he's retired. But luckily, Christian was about to win the World Heavyweight Champion and be like the next Edge, even though that he's the one still wrestling at that time. However, 2 days later, yes, I'm talking about real life, I'm not talking about SmackDown tapings, WWE decided to have Christian defend his title against Randy Orton. And Randy Orton beat Christian. Oh my god. I can guarantee you that people were so pissed off about this. And I can understand why. Now, me personally, Christian isn't one of my favorite wrestlers, but I can understand why people really love him so much. Because of his run back in the Attitude Era. And what makes this even more worse, Christian was in a ladder match, which is a very dangerous match since he's an innovator of ladder matches. And him defending the title 2 days after he won it is just so unbelievable and unacceptable. I mean, if he defended the title at Over the Limit and still lose it, I can understand that people would kind of be upset that his title reign was short, but at least it was a better short than 2 days, because the rule of defending your championship with the 1 month rule is understandable because the Extreme Rules 2001 towards the Over the Limit 2011, yes, I did say 1, but you know what I mean, Extreme Rules 2011, isn't a month apart from each other. They're in the same month of May. So why does WWE have to do this to Christian? It's so wrong. And not only that, when he win it back from Randy Orton, it was a disqualification. In case if you don't know, he changed the rules because of his lawyer. That if Randy Orton gets disqualified, he uses his World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah. You know what I really hate about this storyline? The fact that they make Christian a heel and Randy Orton as a face. Now, Randy Orton was a face before this storyline began. However, making Christian as a heel is just wrong on so many levels. I don't even think that the wrestling fans can accept this because it just feels so wrong. Christian has been in this business before Randy Orton came in. And it's very impossible on how he completely is acting like a whiner. And the sad thing is, I don't think that, in my opinion, Christian can defeat Randy Orton by himself. I mean, it would have been way, way better if Christian retained his championship at SummerSlam. At least he can prove it that he can defeat Randy Orton. But since that he didn't, it's really disappointing that he's never going to be World Heavyweight Champion ever again. Because after this, he became an Intercontinental Championship once or twice or something. And then before WrestleMania 30, he got retired. Yeah. It's very disappointing to see a great legend like Christian completely buried like this. It just feels so wrong. And I really didn't like the one that he had after his rivalry with Randy Orton. And this isn't the only reason why people hate WWE so much. There are tons and tons of reasons, and if I go through them all, I'll be here all day. I'm not going to talk about John Cena because I don't love him, but I don't hate him either. And besides, he's a part-timer, so nowadays John Cena haters, well, still alive. Or at least are happy that Cena isn't in the main event spot anymore. There were some good moments during the PG era, like the List of Jericho, which is I'm not a fan of, but I can understand why it's so popular. And while the others are kind of mixed. I mean, they do return some elements like the Shark Cage, which I found okay. And some of the wrestlers, I don't like them, but they're not terrible either. I just couldn't get into watching WWE more. Here's the thing. I stopped watching Raw and SmackDown back at the end of 2015 because it was starting to get a little bored to me. Especially that nothing good is happening. I mean, there is, but it's starting to become weaker and weaker. And keep in mind, the old wrestlers from the past are getting older and are about to be retired. I mean, I know the Big Show is going to be gone next month. Yeah, I did hear everything months before February. And not only that, some of the legends and Hall of Famers really don't like WWE because of how it's changing its PG thing. And I really don't like everything. I'm just completely bored and sick of watching Raw and SmackDown repeatedly, especially that they're so daily and broadcasty. They may have did that before, but at least you have a reason to watch it because you want to see it. You want to see wrestlers that you love. Here, there are some great talent, but since of the PG era issue, I don't think people would change their opinions.